السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Uh, in today's class, inshallah, we're going to talk about the Ramadan, since we are going to have this month after almost like 30 days, inshallah. So we need to have some information regarding this month, especially for those who have groups of people with them to mentor them, maybe, or most probably will have some questions regarding Ramadan. This is why we have decided to have this short, concentrated course before we start the fasting month, Ramadan, inshallah. So first of all, fasting Ramadan, we're going to talk about chapter 1. It's 5 classes or 2 to 6 classes, inshallah. So we're going to take it like day after day, as you know. And the first chapter, it talks about the fasting Ramadan, the obligation and timing. Obligation and timing. As you know, that Ramadan is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. That means it is obligatory for the Muslims to fast Ramadan. It is mentioned in the Sunnah, it's mentioned in the Quran, and it is mentioned in the Sunnah. As you know, we will not go through the evidences from the Quran and Sunnah. It's mentioned here in your book, and also you need to read this one, since this course is like a short, concentrated course. Okay, now 1 minute, just help me. Okay, it's spent already. What is the divine wisdom behind Ramadan? So maybe someone to ask you why we are fasting. First of all, fasting is already obligated or legislated for all the religions before the Islam. So each religion, it has its own fasting, their own way, or as prescribed by their religion. The divine wisdom behind the decree of Ramadan, or why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked us to fast Ramadan, it is fasting that involves the purification of the human being. Purification means in the sense that whenever you stop eating and drinking, that means that you are hindering yourself or your desire from having what you need. So the Prophet ﷺ has mentioned in one of the hadith that the shaitan, inna shaitan yajri ibn Adam min majra ad-dam, so that the devil goes through the veins of the human being or the sons of Adam, like the blood, with the blood. So that involves the purification of the human soul from immorality and vice. For fasting blocks the evil, as we said, the evil ways of the shaitan, because the shaitan, it goes inside of us, means inside of us, not possessed, yani. Okay, it doesn't mean that like that, but it means that the shaitan is always with us. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He ordained us because He is the knower, the all-knower. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knows our body, how it works, our desire, how it works. So whenever we stop eating and drinking and stop ourselves from the lawful things, but the desires of the human being, which is lawful, during the other days, Allah, the ways of the shaitan, or the ways of the evil things that can possess us or that can control us, it will be weakened. Why? Because of this fasting. Fasting is obligatory for every man and woman, Muslim man and woman, sane. Means he has his own mind. That not like for the people who are insane. Insane means like crazy, or someone who doesn't feel or doesn't understand. They are not like, it is not prescribed for them, or it's not obligation for them. For fasting also blocks the evil, and also in one's body, just like the circulation of the blood, like we said, the evil goes. And also the other meaning, or one of the meanings of Ramadan or fasting Ramadan, is that whenever you feel hunger, whenever you feel thirst, you will feel the poor people who have no food and drink, or the things that can like be the normal survival things. These are things nowadays, especially nowadays, we feel it like it's something which is like forgiven for us. Like it's like we don't care about it because it's like normal nowadays. It's normal to have food. It's normal to have clear water. It's normal to have just like put your hand on the tap, you will find the clear water to drink. But before that, they were like maybe traveling, they were digging the ground for wells, they were going to the river, they were cleaning the water for themselves to drink. It was hard. Maybe they were at that time people, they were thinking about the bounties and blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that thing. But nowadays, because of our daily lives, it's something we feel it is so much easy when things comes, when the bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be more and it becomes easy for us to get it easily. We will forget the gratefulness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Easily we will forget the bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So easily we will forget to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for these bounties. Why? The water, just I touch it, I touch the tap, it's already there is water, clean water. I can use it for whatever I want. Whenever you lose these things and you find it hard, you just need to drink, you cannot. You need to eat, you cannot. You stop yourself because for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you start to think about the bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You start to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for these blessings that were available for you easily without having any hardship. It's something like for granted for us nowadays. We feel like that, but it's all by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We don't feel the poor people who cannot have their food easily. We don't feel those people who are having hardship, like people in Gaza right now. They don't have water, they don't have drink, they don't have houses, they don't have even blankets. During the winter, the cold weather, people are dying because of coldness nowadays. And we, alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has granted us everything, all the facilities that we may not feel the cold weather while we are sleeping or we are inside our houses. So this kind of like one of the wisdoms of prescribing, or like let's say legislation of Ramadan for the Muslims. Furthermore, it makes emphasizes with poor people according to the Sharia. Sharia means Islamic rules. Fasting means abstaining from certain acts such as eating, as we said before, and we said also drinking, and having sexual intercourse with one's spouse, committing immoralities. Of course, some of these things that we are mentioning, some of them invalidates the fasting, and some of them they are not invalidating. Like eating, drinking, sexual intercourse, they invalidate if we committed, and also committing some immoralities like backbiting, ghiba, which we call it, or sometimes like lying or calling the names of others, and all these things that mean committing immoralities. These are more prohibited while we are fasting, and it will lessen the rewards of fasting. It will not invalidate, but it will lessen the rewards of fasting, or the worship that we are doing. And all the other acts, fasting person will be prohibited. And these things, we will mention it later on in details in the in the coming classes, inshallah. The prescribed time for Ramadan, for the daily fasting, begins from the daybreak. Daybreak means what? Means when there is, like, if you are living in if you are living in an open area, or if you are living in a desert. Nowadays we are living in cities. Since we are living in cities, maybe we cannot experience this one, we cannot feel it. But once you live in an open area, one day if you have like a camping or something like that, you will feel that if you are waking all the night, that the dawn will start like white line in between the darkness of the night. So they call it the thread of the whiteness, or the thread of the day. Okay, once this comes, that means this is the Fajr time. This is the time where the mu'adhin, the caller for the prayer, will start to say Allahu Akbar. That means the Fajr time has come. Okay, so the prescribed time starts from here. Now let me tell you something, because so many people that are having some let's say misunderstanding or like sometimes they are like, especially in some countries where the imam, or the prayer caller, mu'adhin we call him, he calls little bit late or sometimes little bit before that, and which we call it the imsak. Imsak means that you have to stop eating. This is so much important. I just want to highlight this point now. So the prescribed time, as we said, it's fasting. It begins from the daybreak, namely the manifest whiteness in the horizon, we said, okay? And it ends at the time of the sunset. And also I will mention something regarding the sunset now in this class. Now, listen to me. Wa alaikum salam, brother, and one of the brothers or sisters in the online broadcast. Okay. We have two times in Ramadan. The first time they call it imsak. Okay. The second time, which is the Fajr time. Now, in the Quran, in the Sharia legislation, you have to stop drinking and eating when the Fajr comes. But people, they said that sometimes we do not notice. We still we continue eating and drinking, and the food is there, everything is ready until the Fajr time. It's not good for the people because some of the people they are still eating until it calls. Then he has to stop or she has to stop eating or drinking at that time. So what do? They make the imsak call for prayer for people who needs to fast. Okay, they call them like for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 10 minutes. It depends on the country. They are calling, maybe sometimes they call imsak, or sometimes they do like even sometimes in a kind of traditions they can make bomb, like artillery bomb. Okay, and sometimes they call for that in the masjid, they call it imsak, or some people they do like in the drums, they roam the streets and do this maybe 30 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever the case might be. That time he's just telling you to stop eating, be careful, because Fajr has come early, or sometimes they are waking you up. Okay, wake up for the sahur. So sometimes waking you up, sometimes like sometimes they are telling you be careful now. The Fajr will come after like maybe 10 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever, as we said. Can I eat after that call or after that alarm? Let's say yes, I can eat. He's just like telling me be careful. Like within 10 minutes, you have to stop eating because the call for prayer, for Fajr prayer, will start. Can I eat? Yes, because some people they think when he says imsak, even sometimes in the calendars there is imsak timing and Fajr timing also in Ramadan specifically they mention this one. After imsak I can eat. After imsak I can eat. It's just like alarm timing. Okay. Sometimes in some countries they are calling for the Fajr later on. They are calling like late because what? Because they are praying late Fajr. That is not the time of imsak. The time of imsak at that time will be the time of the Fajr again. So your due time, the start time of fasting, it means stop eating, drinking, sexual intercourse, and everything. It should be at the Fajr time, before the Fajr time. Okay. If they are calling for imsak, as we said, you just take care, because that means that time is coming. So you can still eat and drink until the time comes. But be careful. If those people in some countries, if they are delaying the prayer, Fajr prayer, and they are calling for the Fajr prayer late, don't care about this call, because this call is late. It's just for the prayer. It's not the call for the Ramadan. And sometimes they do have two calls, the one call for the prayer and one call for the Fajr timing. Okay. So as we said again, we want to just like emphasize at this point, this is your time, is the Fajr time. Either you depend on your calendar or you depend on the masjid that is nearby you that is calling for the Fajr prayer at the time. Some students, some of the new Muslims, some of the newly practicing Islam, especially young people who are newly practicing or like newly, let's say, seizing or practicing Islam hardly once they start. They are saying, oh, oh, this is the Imam, he's calling a little bit late, so be careful. You have to stop 10 minutes before, like, or 15 minutes before. We've heard about those people, and I faced so many of them. They were saying that this man, he's calling for the prayer late. Be careful. Don't listen to him. 15 minutes before, you have to stop eating because the time, blah, 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 all these things. No. He is your witness for the Fajr. Wherever you live, the Imam, if he's following the calendar strictly, I'm not saying that he's sleeping, he's calling late. No, no. Strictly, he's following the calendar. He's your witness. You don't know the real time. You are living in a city. If you don't see it by yourself, if you can see it by yourself, so go every night, go and check it yourself. If you are like that. But as long as you are depending on your country and your government, that the Imam or the uh, Ministry of Awqaf has prescribed timings, and the people they are following strictly, the Imam of the Masjid, he's following strictly, that is the time, that is your time, and he's your witness for the entrance of the time, or for the time entering. Okay, don't worry, don't like make a mess between Muslims like that. Okay, and others on the other hand, they are saying he's calling early, so you can still continue eat after 10 minutes. How you eat after 10 minutes? You don't care about your worship? This is the full day later on. Maybe it will be invalid for you because of you want to like eat 5-10 minutes. I have already faced some people like that. They are saying we don't care about the Imam, he's calling early, so we can continue eating for 5-10 minutes more because he's calling early. My dear, you have to care about your religion. You have to care about your what they call your fasting, and keep it safe side, and don't and depend on the on your witness, and he will be the one responsible for if he had made a mistake, or he made a mistake. Okay, this is the same applies for what, for starting of Ramadan itself and ending of Ramadan or starting of Eid. Okay, so the second thing, people on the sunset, Maghrib time. Maghrib time, by the way, Maghrib time, sunset, we have the day is divided into two parts, daytime, nighttime. Nighttime starts from Maghrib. So nighttime starts from the Maghrib. It doesn't, we are not talking about the darkness. We're not talking about the blackness of the sky. We're talking about nighttime, daytime and nighttime. Nighttime starts from the Maghrib. Whenever he calls, that means the sun has fallen down the horizon. Now the sun circle, you cannot see it on the horizon if you are living in an open area. If you are living in a desert, the horizon, and this happens so much, especially while you are traveling, for example, by car, like in suburbs or something like that, open ways, you will find that you will see easily, you will see the horizon and you will see the sun, okay, falling down and disappearing on this line, behind this line, the horizon. That means the night has come. So we are at the night time. Yes, you will see some lighting there because it's the lights of the rays of the sun. Okay, but the sun itself disappeared. When the sun disappears, according to the hadith narrated by the Prophet, according to the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, which is authentic hadith, that when the sun falls down behind the horizon, that means the fasting man, he can break his fast now, and the night has come. So night, it doesn't mean the stars. I should see the stars. No, it doesn't require to see the stars. The night means the sun circle has fallen behind or below the horizon. No more, you can no more see it. Even there is lighting in the sky. This is the night time has started, even though it is like still the sky is like a little bit like lightened or white. Okay, so the night starts from, so you need to start eating, drinking, break your fast, I mean, until the next day when the thread or the manifest of whiteness will be clear, or will be like a thread in the middle of the darkness or the blackness of the sky, which is the Fajr time. Is it clear now? These things are making so many issues, problems, conflicts between some of the new Muslims who are newly practicing Islam, like newly practicing Islam, let's say after like they have made so many like mistakes, or like they were leaving practicing Islam, then once you start coming, you love Allah subhanahu. By the way, this is because of love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is not every day, like we can say it like it is extremism. It's extremism in fact, but it's coming from the love. So this type of people, you just need to put them on the right track. Only put them on the right track, and like just like it needs to little bit hinder them. Someone has to hinder them little bit. Okay, just like little breaks they need, and this breaks, if we can say it has to come through someone who is a mentor, guide for them. And this is mentioned by some of our ancestors, like who said that the person who comes to Islam on the practicing Islam, one of the bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the one who is practicing and newly practicing Islam, or he's coming to the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala newly, is that he gives him a mentor, or he gives him a sheikh or sign or scholar, or like a teacher who guides him the way to reach to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Otherwise, you may do so many mistakes while moving in this way, and you will take maybe so much time until you feel or discover that you were like little bit in the wrong way, or on the wrong side, or you are not understanding. This is another issue. I do like to highlight it sometimes to my students, but we don't have time to explain why some people go to the extreme side because of lack of guidance, lack of mentors, lack of scholars that we have nowadays in this era. The most of the people, they don't have knowledge. Most of the people who have knowledge, they cannot reach to the people, and so on and so forth. It's so much. It's long topic. Maybe one day we will talk about it. The phrase Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the white thread of dawn becomes distinct to you from the black thread of night, as we said, shows that the fasting begins when the whiteness of the daybreak, we mean, becomes distinct from the blackness of the night. Starting of Ramadan itself. Now we have talked about the time of the day. Starting of the Ramadan, it is about seeing the new moon of the month. Now, how we will see the new moon of the month? This depends, so many different countries. Some countries, they are depending on naked eye sight. You have to see it by your eyes. They have their own evidences. People, they are depending on the telescopes. They have their own evidences also. People, they are depending on calendars. They're just like calculating. They do the math, and they do the calculations, and they can say that Ramadan next year or this year, Ramadan will start this time. Even they don't need to go to the telescopes and check it at that day. Maybe even if they are checking, it's like something which is like extra, but they have already prescribed according to the calculations. Okay, about the astronomy science. According to that, they have just calculated, and they knew that at the beginning of the year, they knew when Ramadan will start. Okay, so these are three, and it is acceptable. Okay, these three ways, it is acceptable. But the main thing is that the moon of the month comes. How I know it has come? Okay, the crescent. How do I know that? They said by eye, then some by telescope. They said some of others. They said by calculations. Okay, where I live, I have to follow. Where I don't follow the countries of where you are related to, or you are a citizen of, or whatever. You are living here, so you just follow the country. Just follow the country that you are living in. One of the chefs, my sheikh, he said one day, you can do like maybe fast before or after, if you are thinking that there is let's say there is a mistake that you feel it is like a clear mistake or something like that, or like it's sometimes like a political or something like that, you can, but don't show this one, because you are making a problem in the community itself. So because why? Because some scholars, what did they say? We depend in Ramadan, we depend on what? We depend on someone, just one Muslim witness who said that I have seen the crescent, that means Ramadan has started. He come and make a witness and he said he saw the crescent, then that means Ramadan have started. He comes to the court or something like that and say to the people that I have seen it, then at that time we will accept his witness. Now, accordingly, let's say if no one came and saw the crescent, but you only, the one who said, you just came from the desert now and you have seen it by your eye, but all the country is not fasting because they said in the TV or whatever, they said that there is no Ramadan, not tomorrow, day after tomorrow is Ramadan. But you have seen it yourself by your eye. They said, the scholars at that time, they said, whoever sees it, you see it, because I saw it. I cannot follow. Yeah, they have mistakes, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them, He apologizes them because they didn't see it themselves. And you know that the rules comes when we know it. If we don't know that the Ramadan has come, the month has come, so that means it's okay for us. But for that person who has seen the crescent himself, he know 100% that Ramadan has came, he can fast. But they said he shouldn't show to all people that I'm fasting, you are wrong, you have a mistake, or blah, 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 all these things, because this makes the Muslims contradicts with each other. This is your opinion, or this is your witnesses, okay? Don't try to apply it to other people and make a blah, 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 and make division in the Muslims community. And this also, according to Hanbali madhab, I will talk about it. According to the Hanbali madhab, they said the Muslim whoever fasts during the day, they said you have to fast during the day. If, like, for example, if you have an excuse, like you are a traveler, now we will talk about this one. If you are a traveler and you came back home, can I eat, drink in the street? And they say, oh, why are you drinking or eating? You say, I just came. I was traveling at the daytime. Like, for example, at the daytime I was traveling. I came like 12 p.m. or 1 p.m., something like that, 13 time. Okay? Still Ramadan day. Okay? People still, they are fasting. But at the beginning of the day, I was traveling. I just came back. Now I was eating, drinking because I was traveling. Now, can I still continue eating and drinking in front of the people? They see me like that. How can I explain for everyone that I put just like put a banner here or something like that, stick here that I'm a traveler, or I was sick and now I'm good? No, they said you have to stop eating, and it is not counted a day. It is not counted a day for you, but you have to stop for the لحرمة الشهر, for the sake of the sacredness of the month itself. You have to stop. Even the woman who has a menses, when it stops during the day, she has to stop. Even if she's like she's not like allowed to eat or drink while she's outside because she has menses, for example, because for the sacredness of the month, لحرمة الشهر. And this is according to Hanbali madhab. So this is, from this thing, you know that even though that you believe that this is not the time of fasting or not the time of Ramadan, and you want to do something which contradicts with the community, you need to hide it. Don't show it to the people, because the whole community, they are united in one advertisement which is coming from the Awqaf ministry, from the government, from whatever the source might be. Especially in those people, with those people who are living in the European countries, Americas, like they are living there, they are following their Muslim leagues and Muslim communities there. They need to follow them and don't make conflict between Muslims. You know the problems that happens there. Thus, whoever sees the moon, the new moon of the month of Ramadan by himself, it's obligated to fast it by yourself. Being informed of the appearance of the new moon of the month by just trustworthy, legally accountable person. We said that one person comes and say that I have seen the moon, that means that Ramadan has come. This is a witness of one Muslim. The completion of the month of Sha'ban, the month preceding Ramadan, as a 30 days, or maybe though you don't need all these things, just we have said that tomorrow is not Ramadan, that means tomorrow is the 30th day of Sha'ban. Now we are Sha'ban, so that means you need to what? You need to definitely tomorrow, because today is the 30, we don't have 31, so definitely tomorrow is Ramadan. Fasting the month of Ramadan, sorry, is obligatory upon every legally accountable Muslim. Legally accountable Muslim means that he's a Muslim, she's a Muslim, has reached to the age of puberty, okay, and he is sane, or means sane, that means he has his own normal mind, in a status of like normal person, who is not like at that time, at the time of Ramadan or at the day of Ramadan. He's some people, they are losing their minds. They call it the psoriasis, means they are losing their mind for a while during Ramadan. Okay, during every day, during the days over the year, because this is kind of sickness. Nas'al Allah al-afwa wal-afiyah, but these people are they are losing in some like few minutes during the during some days. So it's desirable is not to it is not is the disbelievers are not required to fast Ramadan. You know that. So like for example, if you are talking to someone who's a non-Muslim during Ramadan, for example, you are not required to ask him to fast Ramadan now. You will not talk about Ramadan. You are talking about La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. This is the most important thing, and this is the key, by the way, to open the door. Then when you enter, then you will find the things that you need to do. Okay, so as long as no La ilaha illallah is not available till now, you have to concentrate on how to present the Islam for him or her, in order to let them decide not. And once they say Rasulullah, that means they need to start to pray next time prayer, okay, and they need to fast Ramadan. They need to fast Ramadan at that time. So for example, if we said that someone became a Muslim on the 15th of Ramadan, we will tell him to start fast today. Now, let's say he said La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah at 12 p.m. Okay, and what we will tell him or her, we will tell him to like not to show that you are eating or drinking. You need to stop eating and drinking, as we said before. But this is not counted a day. And you need, for the next day, you need to fast Ramadan. And the other 15 days, you are not required to make up for them, because you are non-Muslim. Okay, you are non-Muslim. It is not required from him or her. Okay, for it is not obligated to observe fasting. And if he does, it will not be accepted from him. You know, the non-Muslim, it will, if he's praying, if he's fasting Ramadan, it is not accepted until he becomes or she becomes a Muslim. And if he repents and converts to Islam during the month of Ramadan, as we said, he is to fast the rest of the month without being obliged to make up, as we said before. It is not obligatory upon children, but can we let them fast Ramadan? The discriminating child, we have, let's say, some stages for the age. The first stage, childhood. In Islam, I'm talking about, we don't have 18 plus, blah, 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 21 plus, and all these things. We don't have like a teenager phase in your life. We don't have these things. We have childhood, and also we have puberty. So childhood and puberty. During puberty, whatever the case might be, or whatever the time might be, it differs from person to person, like 12, 20, 12, 13, 14, 11, it depends. Okay, even 9, 10, something like that. This is a puberty. He's a man or woman. After puberty, he's a man or woman. This is the second part of the life. That means he needs to do all the obligations, or she. Before that, before this obligation, the childhood, he's not or she's not required to do these obligations, but it is like a phase of teaching them to be ready once they become man or woman, to be ready to do the obligations, because we cannot tell him like today he's become a man or she became a woman. Today, yesterday he was child or she was a child. Next day he has to pray 5 times a day, or maybe if there is Ramadan, he has to fast. Blah blah. All these things will come one time. Maybe he or she will leave Islam directly. So we have to teach them during this phase, the first phase of childhood, to teach them the obligations of Islam, the morals of Islam, and all these things. Even they need to practice these things. Once they reach it and becomes obligation, they have already started to do it. They were already started to pray. They are already fasting. They are already like doing the obligations, wearing hijab, and they know everything. Not today. She was not wearing hijab and wearing like any kind of clothes that is for the children. We say yes, it's okay, it's for children. Yes. Then next day we need to change the clothes. We need to cover the head. We need to pray 5 times a day. Maybe next week Ramadan have to fast Ramadan. Will be so hard for any human being. So this is why we teach them how to fast Ramadan. We teach them that we say that it's obligation, not for you right now, but you need to fast like maybe at like 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours, something like that. If they are able to do this, to do all full day, maybe they can, no problem for that. They can fast all the day, and it will be for them, and for their parents who are teaching them to do this one, the reward will go for them as a desirable fasting. It will not be obligation for them. They will get rewards for that. The child will get rewards for whatever goodness he will do or she will do. But at the same time, or on the other hand, if they do bad things, they will never get like sins. Okay, but they get rewards at this age. Now, this age, the childhood, is also divided into two parts. Also, the first part is discriminating childhood and childhood. Let's say pure childhood. Childhood means like he's like just like animal. He doesn't understand. She doesn't understand anything. They are just like nothing. They don't have sense. Okay. After that, they start to discriminate. Discriminate means distinguish. They know the right, they know the bad, they know the truth, they know the lies, they know these things. They distinguish between the man and woman. He's a man, she's a woman. They know the difference. They know which we call it like a shame. They know what is a shame. Okay, so they call him or they call her the discriminating or distinguishing child. That time you can start to teach them how to fast Ramadan, like how to like let's say fast Ramadan, the prayers and all these things. And this distinguishing starts like from five until they get the puberty, 5, 6, or something like that. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said, teach them how to pray on 7 and beat them on it on 10th, which means they are still did not reach the puberty almost, but we are teaching them to do these kind of obligations. People with illness, they are not required to fast Ramadan if the illness is preventing them from fasting Ramadan, or it will be worse. Means if I'm fasting now, I will be worse. Or if I'm fasting now, my illness will continue more, like we will be lengthening my period of illness. According to the Shafi'i madhab, they said at that time, these two conditions, you need to, you can break your fast. But if it is like something normal and they can fast, no problem. Traveling also for that one. Traveling, by the way here, traveling, it doesn't depend on the hardship of travel. It depends on the distance of travel, okay? Or whether it is called a travel or not, according to what we have said in the shortening the prayers. Whenever I am required to shorten my prayers, it is allowable for me to shorten my prayers. At that time, I can break my fast. I can not fast Ramadan. At this time, you can leave fasting or break your fast while you are in travel. It doesn't depend on the hardship. It is related. This ruling, be careful. This ruling is related to travel itself. Whether you are traveling by camel, by horse, by walk, by airplane, by a rocket. I don't know later on what will happen after 500 years later on. Okay? We don't know. It is a travel. So the connection is between the fasting and travel is the travel itself. I'm traveling. How will I travel? Will I face hardship? There is no relationship. It's easy for me. I can fast Ramadan. It's easy. It's only 1 hour. I will be there. Okay? Okay, my dear. If you want, you can fast, but you can break your fast also, as long as it is traveling. Uh, Also, those people who can break their fast, the women, namely menstruating women, and the menses on her period or menses, and the woman in the state of postnatal bleeding, means after giving birth. Two ill persons, as we said, who are observed like the illness will, as we said, will be lengthened or it will be worse, such as travelers and ill people who can observe fasting with difficulty but without causing them harm. They can, okay? Travelers who returns back, we talked about this one. Travelers who returns back during the day, as we said, they have to stop eating and drinking according to some of the opinions of the scholars, which is mainly Hanbali madhab. They said stop. And also the woman who is having a postnatal bleeding, they call it nifas, and the menses, haid, the period. Those women, if they have discovered that it has stopped during the day, they can stop eating and drinking, but that day is not counted, and they have to make up later on. It is preferable for me. This is my opinion. It is acceptable for the woman to delay it until the next Ramadan, the makeup days, but it's preferable for the woman because we don't like which one who's guaranteeing his life for the next year, for 1 year ahead. No one. So, however, you are not required until the next Ramadan, but you face Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or you meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with full fasting Ramadan, with full Ramadan fasting, better than facing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with part of Ramadan. Because some of the scholars, they said, Man sama Ramadan imanan wa ihtisaban, ghufira lahu ma taqaddama min dhanbi. Whoever fasts Ramadan with believing in Ramadan, with the full faith in Ramadan, and he's accounting that Ramadan will be beneficial for him and he'll get rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because of this fasting, imanan wa ihtisaban, غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive or wipe all his or her sins. They said he has to complete Ramadan, or she has to complete Ramadan 30 days. She has to complete means if she has like few days, 12, 7 days, something like that, to make up, she has to make up these days so she can get this reward. Okay? So if someone dies before completing, that means he did not or she did not complete. There will be no sins for her because still she has time. She's in the time. She didn't pass the time. Next Ramadan did not come, but she did not complete Ramadan. So it is preferable to complete these or to make up for these days as soon as possible. As soon as possible. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned in the Quran, فَاسْتَبِقُوا الْخَيْرَاتِ, means compete for the goodness. We have to compete for the goodness means you have to be the first, as when Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, he was explaining inside, to be the first always when we are doing the goodness for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Child who reaches puberty, the child, and becomes man during the day, or she becomes a woman during the day, they have to observe fasting for the rest of the day. They stop eating and drinking. It is not counted. Then next day they have to start fasting. To start fasting for the next day, to observe fasting for the rest of the day if the excuse is over in the daytime, and to make up for the day afterwards, means the day that they have reached to, means they have reached to puberty at 12. That means this day also they are requiring to fast it. to stop eating and drinking, and that day they have to make up for that day. Okay, but the other days before that they don't need to make up for it, because at that time it was not required from them. From this time they are required for this day, but it's already, sorry, it's already started, so you need to make up for that day. Next day you have to fast until the end of Ramadan. Up to here we have reached to the end of our class for today, inshallah. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask.
Can I ask one?
Yes, please.
If the travel is unnecessary, still can people not fast?
Unnecessary or necessary? I need to travel. I need to travel, but not I'm traveling. Last year when I was teaching, some students, they came to me, they said, what about those people who are traveling in order to break fasting? I want to travel to break my fast. I said, what kind of people are they? But this is like let's say it is a case. They said that this is haram travel, and some of the scholars, they said haram travel, which is a forbidden travels, like someone who is traveling to drink alcohol outside his country. Now Ramadan, there is no alcohol, or he's to commit sins outside his country, so he wants to travel. They said all the excuses that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, it is a bounty from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the Muslims who are traveling, to make life, to make it easy for them, to make religion easy for them. So now this guy, he's leaving for the sake of, in his intention, to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it contradicts with the wisdom of the legislation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The legislation or the wisdom of that is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to make it easy for him, the religion to make it easy for him while he's traveling or she's traveling. He's leaving for disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to do the prohibitions. Then at that time he cannot do qasr, shortening his prayer, and he cannot break his fast. So this kind of person who is leaving because he wants to break his fast, it is not acceptable for him. But if it is not important, it's okay also. It's not important, I can delay it, but I think it's better to go now. Okay, no problem. There is no proof says that is it important or not important, my travel. Okay, important, not important, and we said that it is connected with traveling. Okay.
Okay. I have one more question, if that's okay. Also, this is out of experience. Also, the previous one was the experience. Like, I had a friend, and I told her like she's traveling just for travel, but still not fasting. So it was weird. So second question was, if someone lives in non-Muslim country, but how do they follow? Like, because Indonesians start different, Turkish start different, the start of Ramadan. So what should they do? Because I lived in non-Muslim country for some time in Ramadan, and this caused contradiction in community, in Eid also. Like, what can it be solved?
We are following some community, some Islamic communities, which are differing from each other. Sorry for that, but it happens they are differing from each other, and they have their own calculations also. So some people, they are saying this is sometimes even related to politics. We know that. Sometimes related to some people who are not related to the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, not Sunni people. Okay, leave these both of them. We are talking about the Muslims community, the Sunni communities. They are differing sometimes because of the calculation. Now, this doesn't happen in one country. Why? Because this country, he says that I will use this method. I will use the calculation method. I will use the telescope method. I will use the bare eye method. Okay? So bare eye method in this country, telescope in that country, calculation in that country. The government will say today is Ramadan, tomorrow is Eid, for example. So all the Muslims, they are following the government, And if the government it has its own mistakes or they have own politics or whatever the case might be, as long as I cannot go myself to the open area, to the desert, and see the moon by myself, what should I do? I can depend on them. Then if anything happens, they are the one who are responsible in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I have my excuse. Okay? In the Western countries, because these countries are gathered in one and a third country, let's say, means that, for example, we are in Europe, people they are coming from a background country with calculations method. Other people they are coming from a country which depends on the eyesight. Others they are coming from the telescope countries. We are following our countries. And other, what do they say? Others they do say they have fatwa. They are saying that you have to follow Saudi Arabia because this is the Muslim country where Mecca and Medina is there, and so on and so forth. Others they said you have to follow the nearest country to your country where you live. So, for example, if you are living like in, let's say you are living in Italy, you have to follow, like, for example, Tunisia or Morocco or something like that, fast. Okay, so they are differing this way. So this is why you find it so there will be so much conflict in these countries, European countries or America or something like that. You are following the community that you are following, for example, or the most authentic community. You believe it doesn't mean because I'm like, for example, I'm from that country, I will follow the community that, for example, let's say my country community or Islamic League, which is in that Western country, it is spoiled, bad. Okay, the president of that community is bad. They are not following. They are politics following, blah blah blah, all these things. They are from my country, but do I need to follow them just because of they are from my country, or because I'm the same citizen? No, I will not follow them. I will follow the best, authentic, reliable, knowledgeable, trustworthy community or league, Islamic League. I am searching for these things: knowledgeable, trustworthy, means reliable, trustworthy, authentic, and something like that. I'm following them. Then, if they said tomorrow is Eid for me. Tomorrow is Ramadan for me. I will follow those people who I feel that they are most trustworthy. It is not about citizenship. We are all Muslims. It is not about like countries. We are all Muslims. And one day we were one big country. Okay? So it doesn't apply for Islam, these borders. It applies for the knowledge and the trust. If I trust them, then if they have made a mistake after my choice, after my searching for the trustworthy league or organization and knowledgeable, then they have done a mistake. This is their fault, and they will be responsible. And if I have discovered they are really had made a mistake, for example, they said tomorrow Eid and tomorrow is Ramadan, and they had said that it is a mistake, or I have discovered that it was a mistake, I can make up for that day later on. Okay?
جزاكم الله خير.
Why he couldn't bear fasting? This is the most important in the question. I couldn't bear, what does it mean? Because لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not burden a soul over its limits. Okay? And one of my I've just, like yesterday, alhamdulillah, I have just translated to different languages one of the videos in my YouTube channel. It talks about this one because, for example, so many people, they are working hard works, especially in hot countries. For example, they are like working in masonry work. Okay, so they just start to break their fast. I mean, he says, I will not fast Ramadan this year. Why? Because of my work. There is a detail for this one. We will talk about this next class. But the brother or sister who's asking this one in the text, if they have an excuse, what was the question? If they have excuse without a valid excuse, but at the same time they are saying I couldn't continue. I will take it as a not the valid excuse. This is a sin, okay? And he has to make up for this one. And it will never ever be the same like he's fasting the day of Ramadan. Okay? Never ever. The scholar said, never ever. Only for the valid excuse, making up for the valid excuse, it will be counted as like you have fasting this one in Ramadan, like the traveler, the sick person, menstruation, postnatal bleeding for the woman, period. I mean, these are normal, just like they are fasting during Ramadan. But for those who are breaking fast or doesn't like intentionally, they are leaving these days of Ramadan. They said, today I don't want. Let me make it in like winter. Now summer I cannot. It's too hot. I'm thirsty. I cannot. So I'll leave it today. Next like after 4 months, something like that, 5 months, it will be winter. I can easily fast Ramadan. Never. This is a sin. Major sin. Number one. Major sin. Okay? That means it will never be forgiven unless you repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and not repeat it again. Number one. Number two, you have to make up. Number three, you have to know that this makeup day will never be the same like the day of Ramadan that you have left. Okay?
Because in Turkey, like, I don't know, is it only in Turkey, but this is what I have been taught. If you invalidate your fasting for one day without an excuse, you have to make up that day for 2 months. Like for 60 days, you have to fast to make that day up.
Did you kill someone or what?
I don't know. This is what I wanted to understand and clarify.
No. Inshallah, we will talk about this one in the not next class, the class after that. Okay, but
Okay,
not 2 months. It's not never 2 months.
Okay.
This is so important. This is why we have decided to give this short, concentrated courses before Ramadan, because never. I'm sure 100%. If you have some people with you you are mentoring them, they will ask you about this during Ramadan, and you have to be prepared for these things. This is very important because it is the obligation. They call it scholars. They call it obligation of time. Why I decided to give these classes ahead, let's say, because Ramadan is coming. So this is, they call it the obligation of time. So you are, as a mentor, it's obligation upon you. It is a must for you to know these things and to understand how to reply for those people, or at least start to give them some like information about Ramadan from now to make them ready to fast Ramadan. Maybe some of them this will be the first time. So I don't want you to like surprise them. Oh, tomorrow Ramadan you have to do blah 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 blah. All these things. Give them all the information. So just start to give the information now. Today we had a class. Tell them to, by the way, after 30 days, inshallah, we will have Ramadan. Ramadan is like that, and so on and so forth. And the rulings are like that. Explain for them, make them ready, psychologically ready for this one, and especially maybe even physically. Maybe some people, they are like craving food. They are eating so much. Okay, so it will be hard for them, especially at the first days. So from now, at least they can practice, they can like make diets, for example. They can cut food for 2-3 hours, just like kids. Just like the kids. First we tell them to like fast 3 or 4 hours and then go eat, no problem. They are obliged to. They are not kids. They have to fast Ramadan. But for now we have 30 days. We can let them practice the fasting. Okay, we have 30 days. It is enough, more than enough for them. And the Sunnah Shaban to fast during Shaban. So we have enough time for them to let them practice, like to cut food for 3 hours, 4 hours, something like that, and so on and so forth. you can make them like make them a diet schedule for them. Yes, Aisha.
Assalamu alaikum. Jazakumullahu khairan for the knowledge. I was wondering what should we say to someone, a new Muslim that, for example, accepted Islam some years ago, but came to know that they were obliged to fast only later on. Should they make up for the fasts before they knew that they were obliged to fast?
Yes, they need to do. They need to make up for these days. It's not haram for them because they don't know, but once they know that, they have to make up for these days. Okay, they need to.
تمام. جزاكم خير.
Jazakallah khair. Any other questions? Okay. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from us our classes and our patience for the seeking of knowledge, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala open the ways for us and make us guidance for others, and accept Ramadan from us and our fastings, prayers, inshallah. Thank you so much for attendance, for listening. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.